What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Fortnight on the Isle. Same story as kind of the last couple updates in terms of like the state of affairs, stuff like that. I've already, briefly discussed it in a couple videos up to this point. OBS reset a lot of stuff, so this video is going to look a little different. Obviously, I'm not in my normal Fortnight on the Isle scene here while I'm recording because of that reason. So, I'm just kind of getting a normal camera angle this time around because I haven't had a proper chance to go back and rebuild everything where I felt like I've wanted to go through that torture. So for the moment, in terms of IRL talk, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. If I look tired, it's because I am. Normally I go to work and I tend to work by myself, actually. Not just because I like to or because I want to work by myself, but because I actually legitimately work by myself for nearly the entirety of my shift most days. The last week hasn't been that way. One of my coworkers actually left, so I'm actually training a new guy at this point. And just being around him it's not necessarily draining because I don't like him. It's draining because I'm very antisocial, very introverted. So I just have a social battery. My social battery is gone. My mental energy is gone after the past week. So I'm just very tired and just kind of out of it. In fact, I'm trying to figure out where my water is and I have no clue where I set it. I may have left it at work for all I know at this point. I'm just kind of tired. But in terms of other stuff that's been going on in my life, there was a solid week there. I believe it was last week. Not this past week, but the week before that. So the week immediately after the last one of these Fortnite on the Isles, where I basically didn't read because I was too busy gaming, which we'll get into with the entertainment talk. But the last week I did manage to recoup a little bit of reading time again, so let me go ahead and talk about that. Actually, I need my phone for part of that, and once again I have no idea where I set my phone. It's not on my desk anywhere, so I don't know where it is. So I guess I won't show that portion in the video because I don't know where it is and I'm too lazy to go find it at the moment. But yeah, in terms of the bi-weekly reading, a little bit less to talk about this time around. I did finally get to continue a little bit with the Prophet of Edan. I planned to get probably about to this point 55% or so of the way through by the time the end of June, the beginning of July rolled around, and here we are a week into July, and I've barely gotten to that point. Like I said, there was a week there where I basically didn't read, so I'm going to be trying to get this done here in the next couple weeks if I can, which shouldn't be impossible, considering if I just read a chapter a day until I'm finished, it should only take a couple weeks to finish it. But the other thing that I'm really excited to talk about is that I did start The Great Hunt, so book 2 in the Wheel of Time, and at this point I am 150 pages in. I'm up to chapter 10 of the book. By the time that I'm recording this, I actually should have technically been up to chapter 13, but because of work the last couple days, I haven't had time to actually do that. Life's been a little bit too busy for me to do that in the morning because of long shift today. A bunch of details that we don't need to get into, so I'm not quite as far as I would have liked to be by today. I think by the end of the weekend, I will be caught up again because I'm thoroughly enjoying this. Super good. If you've read the book and you want to see me do a Wheel of Time Diaries, which is basically it's not beat by beat breakdowns of the books, it's not necessarily summaries of the books, it's just me kind of going through my experience of reading these books in a spoiler filled format. There is minor brief spoiler free sections at the beginning of those videos, but I did my first one of those this last Thursday, and I just had a really great time. There was a chapter in here that was amongst my favorite of the entire series up to this point, and sure, I'm a quarter of the way through book 2. How can I say it's my favorite of the series? But legitimately, the chapter was very good. Chapter 8 of this book was very good, and I'm excited to continue. I also started a bit early on this next book, which is on my phone as an ebook, and I might just insert a picture in the editing if I remember to. I would like to know where I set my phone. It's probably in another room somewhere. Again, I don't remember. But I did start Obsidian Murders by Nicole Fox, otherwise known as Nicole Pierman, a friend of mine who offered me the arc for that book so I could get a review out. Even though I didn't plan to start that until after I finished this, because I've been running a little bit slow on this, I decided to kind of start that, and it's acting as a minor palate cleanser. I suppose, not just because it's really short, but like it's got a lot of chapters. It's got as many chapters in it as this book does, but this book probably has like more than 3 times the amount of words. So that kind of like puts into perspective just how much shorter the chapters are, even though there's the same number of them. So that's pretty refreshing. And the writing style is totally different. Actually, it was almost like whiplashy in a way for those first couple chapters. So I'll get used to it, and I'll continue all 3 of these books, and maybe if I'm lucky, I'll be finished with one of them or something like that by the next fortnight on the Isle. We shall certainly see. That is for sure. We will see. Next up, I will do my bi-weekly writing. There's not a whole lot to talk about here compared to last time, but I will just go ahead and say that I did get 1,000 words written for the Reign of Ash outlining stage. So Halfway Hollow, which is the second book in the sequence, so the second of 19 within this first series, but also 19 books of the entire sequence. I don't know if any of that made sense, but the second book, I got 1,000 words written for it, so 4 scenes done. I have no clue how many scenes this one will end up being. The first book was 59 scenes by the time I finished the outline. I'm pretty much planning / predicting for all of these to be between 45 and 60 scenes a piece, so maybe 10% of the way through, and considering that my target word count for each of these outlines is 10,000 words, and that I'm at 1,000 words now, 10% kind of makes sense, somewhere sort of in that range of what's going on. But that is the deal with that. I was actually hoping to get a chunk of that done today, but at work I was just way too exhausted. When I finally had some time to myself to be able to think, I couldn't think because I was just too tired, so I wasn't able to do that. I tried, but wasn't able to. In terms of the coming releases, there's a few videos coming out on the main channel. There's at least a couple videos coming out on the second channel, but I do not know if any extras will come out, so let's talk about that for a second. On the main channel, this Tuesday and Thursday, well, this Tuesday on the 11th will be my spring 2023 book haul, so that's actually a rather big video. I think it's like a half hour long. It's got some pretty good stuff in there. Thank you to people who gifted me stuff for that. Thank you to Philip Chase and Nicole Pierman for offering me a couple arcs that I was able to start reading that I included in there, and then of course all of my personal acquisitions as well. So that turned out pretty good. I'm excited for that, and for you guys to be able to see that. Next Tuesday on the 18th will be my book review for The Seawolf by Jack London. I'm not entirely sure why I decided to review this one before I got to like The Count of Monte Cristo, for example, but that's just kind of the way it panned out. That was just the one that I recorded. I don't know why. Still trying to figure that out, and I actually still have no clue when I'm going to review some of these other classics, because yeah, my schedule for the channel is just hasn't been planned basically at all from September onward, whereas by the time I got to the beginning of May, I already had everything through August more or less done. So we're just kind of figuring things out as I go at this point in time. But this Thursday and next Thursday, so on the 13th and 20th of the month respectively, will be Wheel of Time Diaries number 7 and 8. So as I continue to read this, I'll continue to do those. Thank you to everybody who's continued to be coming out to those. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. On the second channel, the only videos that I know are coming out because they're already uploaded and scheduled are on this Friday and next Friday, the 14th and the 21st. Sorry about that. Will be episode 7 and 8 of my original Kingdom Hearts 1 playthrough from a few years ago. Again, I'm just going to say, basically don't go watch those. They're not any good, but they're uploaded there just in case you happen to be interested for whatever reason. I don't know why you would be. But in terms of new content, I was thinking that tomorrow, at the time you're watching this, was going to be Zelda Talk number 2. I was able to get that recorded a weekend or two ago with Josh, but I've not had a chance to edit it. And I actually had like 1 or 2 chances to edit it, but I was not really feeling it, so I didn't do that. I didn't want to force it. With long form content like that, hour-long videos, essentially, I don't like to force the editing of those the way that I sometimes force the editing of these shorter videos, because those ones are a lot more exhausting. Like it just takes a lot more out of me to be in here for an hour and watching through all of that, re-experiencing the exact same thing except watching it instead of being actively in. I don't know if it makes sense to you guys, but that's how it is. It's a little bit more exhausting to work on editing those videos if I'm not in the mood to be doing it. So I don't think that will be coming out tomorrow. So it might be next Monday on the 17th. I can't guarantee it, but maybe. I'm not entirely sure. But Kind of a similar thing actually with the Remnant from the Ashes Let's Play with Josh. Episode 4 was supposed to come out this Wednesday on the 12th, and episode 5 next Wednesday on the 19th, because I haven't managed to get those episodes actually prepared and uploaded for that based off of the timing and stuff. I might be able to, because this weekend I'm actually not going to be gaming, or at least I don't plan on gaming at least tomorrow, so I might get some of those videos prepared on Saturday at the time I'm recording this, so it would be actually yesterday at the time this video releases. So I might be able to do some of that this weekend. I'm not entirely sure if I'll be up to it, if I'm this exhausted, so I might not be. So I'll hope for it. Not 100% guaranteed. Again, hoping that this Wednesday I'll be able to continue with the Remnant from the Ashes Let's Play. So that's kind of the thing that's going down. A little bit less certain with that content scheduling for the second channel, but as it is the second channel, it's not quite as important to me, relatively speaking, as getting everything out on time for this channel. But that is all of the talk for that. Let's head into entertainment talk. I started playing Final Fantasy 16 pretty much as soon as I had the last Fortnight on the IRL edited and started uploading. I started playing that game, or at least started playing again from where I left off with the demo. So that's what I started doing, and over the last couple weeks I did actually finish the game as well. About 75 hours or so of playtime. It might just be around 70 hours, somewhere in that 70 to 80 range, but I'm pretty sure it's somewhere around 75 hours. I did play through all of the game, plus pretty much all of the side content. So everything from the main scenario of the game was very good. Some of the greatest spectacle and just standout, like, epic moments I've ever experienced in any form of media in my life. Like, particularly the end of the second act was just chef's kiss. It was so good. It was just so fun. Like, I really enjoyed that aspect to it. But then the side content was actually pretty bad. Like 85% of the side content is just terrible, and the vast majority of the side content that isn't terrible is the stuff that, you know, heavily involves combat, because the combat in the game is great, even if it kind of strays from the RPG sort of elements of the franchise. But overall, I really enjoyed the game. Some of the quests and quest lines are decent, don't get me wrong, and especially the ones that are directly related to, like, the side characters that are directly you know, connected to Clive as the main character. Some of them have a couple questline chains, whether it be like 2 or 3 or 4 quests or whatever, and the end of those quest chains are end or culminate in something that I find really good or enjoyable enough and has like cutscenes and stuff. One of them in particular I just really enjoyed. I found super meaningful from a character standpoint, just because the character involved was one of my favorites. But generally speaking, a lot of the side content was not great, but the main stuff with the game is pretty good. Like I mentioned, the battle and combat is pretty fun, even despite the lack of the RPG material. I would like to see, you know, a little bit more hybrid stuff, kind of like what Final Fantasy VII Remake is doing, even though I haven't played it yet. And maybe in the future we'll get more of a throwback, actual turn-based game in the franchise. I'm not entirely sure if I'd want Final Fantasy XVI to be the blueprint of what the future of the franchise is going to be, but I wouldn't be upset with a game or two in the franchise taking a page out of its book. But I would like to see more of the hybrid stuff, because if they had more of the RPG stuff in it, then I would probably have enjoyed doing some of the side content a little bit more. If there was more of that RPG stuff and you actually got like real tangible rewards for it, like there might be something more worth doing with the side content for that reason. But that's kind of the end of the rant related to that. In terms of that completion side of the game, again, I only have 2 trophies left, not counting the platinum for the game. One for upgrading all of my abilities, so might have to do a little bit of farming, but most of that I should probably be able to get in New Game Plus. And even though I typically don't do New Game Plus, since the other trophy, the other last one that I have to do, is only for playing the game on Final Fantasy mode in New Game Plus, which is basically the hard mode, I think, is essentially what that is. I think I might just go ahead and do that, and like over the next couple more weeks, just kind of do a relatively chill, like less focused playthrough, but only do it on the main scenario basically, and only do side stuff if I feel like it's actually good or important or will be useful for the AP grind. But generally speaking, yeah, I think that's how it's going to be for me, is I'm probably just going to go through that and just do it a little bit more relaxed and chill, just so I can get those last couple trophies, and so I can enjoy the big moments without being hampered down with all of the side content in between, because that was the main thing that affected my experience. So we'll kind of see how that goes. And that's what I'll be doing essentially until Remnant 2 comes out. And I believe I mentioned this in the last Fortnight on the IRL. Remnant 2 is coming out at the end of the month. Very excited for it. Previews that have come out in that time since then make it look like it's going to be very good. Just as I mentioned last time, the stuff that I was more mixed on or maybe didn't love or anything like that in the original game seem to be things that are going to be improved and become stuff that is actually really good and stuff to love. The stuff that I didn't care for one way or the other seems like it's being improved, so that's actually something that's good again. And then the stuff that was really good seems like it's being improved, so that's better. So I have no doubt that I'm going to love the game. I'm very excited to play that essentially at release. So maybe there will be more of the summer where I'm not reading very much because I'm just too busy being a degenerate and gaming a lot. But I haven't had too many opportunities where I could just, be a degenerate nonstop and game all the time that I'm home. But that is the end of this video. I've talked through basically everything that I normally do or normally would want to. Sorry if I seem a little bit less focused. Like I said, I'm just tired, so I apologize for that. But thank you guys for watching this. If you did, I greatly appreciate you if you did. Thank you guys again. I'll see you guys in whatever the next video is. I forget what it was. The spring book haul. This book haul. That'll be a fun one. So I hope you guys come around and, subscribe to the channel and stick around for Tuesday. If you're not already subscribed, if you're watching this video and you're not already subscribed, that would actually be a little bit unexpected, to be honest. But if you want to stick around for Tuesday, that video will be a fun one. So if you stick around for that, I'd greatly appreciate. Thank you guys for watching again. I will see you guys there.